going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Sports with Jake. Hope we're all doing well. You'll see we got some some fancy cam work going on. We got Justin helping me in the back, and as you all know, Justin is very skilled with in that back room. So you might see some picture-on-picture stuff that is completely done on purpose. I hope you like it. If you don't, I don't really care. So you better like it. Anyway, let's get to Talkin Sports with Jake because we got a lot to talk about with Jake. Of course, that's me. Manny Machado was locked up by the Padres. He got an 11-year extension worth $350 million. Of course, Machado, not that long ago, only about 3 or 4 years ago, signed a 10-year, $300 million deal. But he had an opt-out after the season, and he said that was his plan. Here's what he said his cutoff deadline for extension was February 16th. They didn't agree. Said he was going to opt out. But then he changed his mind because he really likes it in San Diego, so he kept talking with them, and they agreed on a deal. 11 years for $350 million. The Padres are just giving out contracts like crazy between Steve Cohen and the Padres. A lot of money being handed out. Of course, they gave Xander Bogaerts 11 years for $280 million. Now you give Machado 11 for $350 on top of what he already had. You gave Tatis 2 years ago 14 for $340 on an extension. They gave Yu Darvish, who's like 36 years old, 6 for $108 on an extension. They extended Musgrove last year, 5 for $100. They're just handing out big contracts, and they still gotta pay. They still gotta pay Juan Soto, who's got two years left. They still gotta pay him. So I hope there's enough money to go around for Juan Soto.
It's gonna be a Bobby Bonilla day for Juan Soto.
But probably for Juan Soto, Justin said.
I think they could hear me.
Is Mike 9 on?
Yeah,
great.
It's on.
Great,
it's
yeah,
on.
That's Justin. But you might even be able to see him with our fancy camera work.
Yeah, because it's a picture-in-picture. It's on your left corner.
That's right. That's right. I might actually be like touching it right now.
Yeah,
so
basically. Yeah, you're basically like grabbing it.
I'm gonna put my hand down because I might have just like blocked everyone from seeing it. But yeah, I hope there's enough money to go around to Soto. I mean, if he hits the market, Steve Cohen's gonna call him and be like, "Join our team." He'll give him anything he wants. Someone he can't afford it. If he asks for $1 billion, Steve Cohen will give it to him. But yeah, my Manny Machado will be a San Diego Padre for life. You know, having him and Xander Bogaerts, you know, make him God knows how much money at age 40 will be interesting. But Padres are ready to win now. They are a World Series contender, and right now, that's a good deal. Seattle Mariners signed Cole Calhoun to a minor league deal. Nobody once was had like a 667 OPS last year, but he's a good outfielder still, so gives him some outfield depth. They have pretty good outfield depth. Obviously, they pick up Teoscar Hernandez. They already got Julio Rodriguez there. We'll see what this kid, Jared Kelenic, can do. But they had Calhoun. Tampa Bay Rays signed Ben Game, a minor league deal, gives him some outfield depth as well. He's a solid fourth outfielder. I'm sure you guys have seen that spring training is underway. You got this is an interesting one. Noah Song, you may not have heard of him. He was a Rule 5 pick by the Phillies after the Red Sox let him go. He's actually he was in the Navy, and he left the Naval Academy to go play baseball for the Phillies. So good for him. It's a lot. Athletes have done this in the past. There's some sort of waiver, some rule that they can like delay their service to go play professional sports. You know, it's always been there. We thought when we had when the new president came in, like he had passed a law, like changing that, but then he recently passed something else to allow to like kind of like it gives some sort of loophole so athletes can still do that. So good for him. Lance McCullers goes to start the year on the IL for an elbow injury. That guy is cancer healthy. He's probably a really good second starter. His number 2 starter when he's healthy. Can't stay healthy, but actually still have a lot of starting pitching depth, even with him on the IL and with just Justin Verlander now in Queens. So they should be fine. Twins pick up Donovan Solano on a 1-year deal. It's a nice pickup, add some depth to their infield. Of course, they traded away Luis Arias, who's he played first base last year, but he's already a second baseman. He was a guy in 2020 in the pandemic year. He had like an OPS of like 820 or 830 and had a high batting error. Hasn't been able to reclaim that. He's a solid hitter. That was a 270 career hitter. They had him to their bench. You got, by the way, do you guys see Red Sox break ended in a pitch clock violation, ended in a tie? This is my thing with the pitch clock. It's worth the experiment. Baseball has been left in the dust for far too long. the games are taking at least 3 hours. Football takes 3 hours. That's fine. It's football. Everyone loves watching football. It's the most interesting sport to watch on television. But baseball taking 3 hours, it's a little bit much. Like the diehard fans are always going to watch. It's the casual fans that are losing, and those are the ones that really matter. Those are the ones that matter.
Like me.
just said under his breath, like me. I'm sure you heard him.
Yeah, it's just like me. I just look. I have said this before on multiple podcasts, and I'm gonna say it again, and I'm gonna say it all the time. In terms of the game of baseball, it is my favorite sport.
Right.
In terms of the game.
Same way.
I love baseball as a sport.
Mm.
I do not like the way the MLB does it because it is incredibly slow.
It is.
You can ask anybody, when I'm home for the summer, I'm watching college. I'm watching the Little League World Series. And you want to know why? Because every game's like 2 hours. Yeah. They're not that long. They are a suitable amount of time. I remember when we were watching what was it? Was it like Mariners Astros or something? And it went to like 17 innings.
1-0.
It was just ended in a 1-0 game. That's a long, and it was like 5 hours. That's a long game, and overtime in basketball is probably 3 hours. It's a long period of time, and on top of that, it also doesn't help that baseball has a lot of afternoon games. So it's like, look, I got to get along with my day.
Yeah.
Like if I'm watching the Mets at 1 o'clock, I'm going to get along with my day. Seriously. I'm here to watch the game. I want to watch the game. I want to be done by 3:30, 4 o'clock, and then go. The pitch clock is a necessity. I don't agree with, the pitch clock issue and making it end with a draw.
That's spring training. That will happen in the regular
That's
season,
spring training.
obviously.
That will never happen in MLB. I think the pitch clock is actually going to, if it's used correctly, and it's not. My concern is not if it's there. It's if it's enforced.
Yeah.
We need to remember that every game actually has an invisible clock for something that you never see. Mm-hmm. Like, for example, people might not know if there's actually a clock for taking a free throw shot.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily enforced that often, unless you're Giannis. Because Giannis takes forever, man. Yeah. He does like 9 dribbles, takes like 4 deep breaths, only to side rim, but only not getting in the side rim. But if they enforce the pitch clock, if they make it to where, like, for example, the play clock in football, you can see it on the scoreboard. If they do that for the MLB, that will show that it's enforced.
Yeah. And
they're actually abiding by it. So I think it's going to be a huge change, but let me hear what you have to say about it.
I think the experiment of the pitch clock is necessary. They tried it in the minors in AAA. Supposedly, it saved 26 minutes per game. A lot of these games are going 2 hours and 30, 2 hours and 35, 2 hours and 40 at most in spring training, opposed to 3 hours, 3 hours and 10 minutes, 3.5 hours, if not more. It's also spring training. The game. This is all about just getting guys prepared for the season. Seeing your younger guys who haven't played yet, trying to get them reps to see how close to being ready are they? If they show out, do we put them on the roster day one? If not, all right, do we put them in AAA, AA? That's what we're worried about. Like, win-loss record isn't that important. If you can play 500, great. But if even like a team like the Metro Padres, if they go 10 games under 500, like you're not gonna hear the media, complaining that they're not gonna have a good year or anything. It doesn't necessarily mean that. And if it works out that way, it works out that way. But the two aren't connected. So I don't know if work season will be different, but I think it's worth the experiment because baseball's been left in the past. Like when it comes to pace the game for far too long.
Yeah, they gotta speed up even just a little bit.
Yeah,
that's what is a little goes a long way. And to save 20 minutes, you're basically saying what you're basically doing is cutting down baseball to the length of a football game.
Yeah, like a football game that has 4 15-minute quarters, always something happening, so eventful, should not be shorter than a 9 baseball game. that shouldn't be, and it's been like that for years.
Yes,
that shouldn't be.
There has been times to where I've watched a whole baseball game, a whole football game. Oh, Jesus Christ. Long day, gentlemen. Long day, everybody. It's a Monday. Sorry. I watched a basketball game, and then I watched the first half of another basketball game. So I've watched 2.5. I've watched 1.5 basketball games, and I turn on a baseball game, and it's only the top of the 8th. I'm like, are you kidding me? At this rate, I could watch 2 whole basketball games, and I'd still be done before the baseball game is over. For one baseball game.
If it goes extra innings, it could be.
Well, yeah, if it goes in extra... Well, that's the thing. Extra innings is different. What you're talking about now is that if it goes into extra innings, it'll be the length of a standard baseball game.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I love it when it goes in extra. I love when games go into overtime. It shows competitiveness. So I think it's a good change for casual fans, because you're right with what I agree with 100% what you said about casual fans. That's the people you need.
Exactly.
The objective of sports sports media or sports production is to get the casual fans to become lifetime fans. Why do you think all of these NFL graphics are childlike? You get the demographic 12 and under, so that they are hooked for life. My 85-year-old grandfather is not going to change. Is not going to turn off the NFL when it's on.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point. Like, I think the pitch clock. If the game is in the 8th inning and it's 3-2, I don't want to hear Gary Cohen go, "And the Mets tie the game on a pitch clock violation." I think eventually, starting with if it's a 3-run game or closer, 7th inning, I don't think you should have it, because you shouldn't have to be thinking about the pitch clock in a big game like that. You should not have to. We have to see how it goes this first year. It could work perfectly, and we won't need to do it. It could be a complete dumpster fire. We might need to just completely get rid of it. We might need to need a little tweak, which is probably my guess. I know I've heard some people say maybe like in the 9th inning and it's a 3 or 4 run game.
Wait, saying what exactly is the penalty for pitch clock violation?
If the pitcher does not throw the pitch in time, it's an automatic ball. If the batter does not get into the batter's box in time, it's an automatic strike.
I think that's kind of fair, depending when. Yeah, if it's a full count, I'd turn it off.
Yeah, I would say I'm honestly fine with it staying in the full count, but I'm also fine with them turning it off. I would say starting in the 7th, if it's a 3-run game or less, in the 7th inning on, you turn it off. That's what I would say.
I also feel that some of these pitchers are far too good for taking this long.
Yeah.
I get there's a lot of pieces to check, Oh yeah, if someone's on base, are they gonna steal? What's the catcher thinking that you should run for this? There's a lot to think about, but at the end of the day, Justin Verlander is Justin Verlander.
Yeah.
You're going to strike him out.
Yeah.
That's your goal, essentially, at the end of the day. So I feel that, some of these, I feel like it will probably be an exciting challenge for these pitchers. Be ready. Throw the fucking ball.
Yeah, I mean, like, some guys, like Jacob deGrom, he doesn't waste any time. He catches it, he goes back to the mound, puts his glove here, and then just his very basic rotation and goes. So, like, Max Scherzer doesn't care. Scherzer just wants to pitch.
Tom Seaver used to throw, 9 innings in an hour and a half.
Yeah. Like, some guy, but it's the guys who, like to, they take their glove off and they rub the ball. They sit behind the mound,
Craig Kimbrell.
Craig Kimbrell, like, he, like, sits on the mound, he looks in, he, like, dangles his arm for, like, 5 seconds, then he sets, he waits, then he goes, he has a bit of a weird rotation. A guy like that, it's going to affect a little bit more, but it's definitely an adjustment. I think they're going to overcall it in spring training, kind of similar to about 5 or 6 years ago when the NFL first put in the rule where you couldn't lead with your head. In the preseason, I remember they were calling it like 3-4 times a game. I'm watching a preseason game with my dad. I addressed the preseason game with my dad. I'm like, "Dad, this rule is stupid." He was like, It's like, yeah, it's weird, but they're going to overcall it in preseason. They're probably going to be over strict with it in spring training to get people used to it because it's new. And spring training is only, a little over a month, so they got to get people used to this thing. But yeah, it should definitely be enforced, and we'll see how the experiment. It's worth the experiment. It may needs some adjustments. Maybe turn off a full count. Maybe three-run game, 7th, 8th, 9th inning, you turn it off. But we'll see what happens. But I think it's worth the experiment. Other stuff for baseball. Frankie Montas, he had his shoulder surgery. At first, we thought he would be done for the year. I'm hearing he could return after the All-Star break. We'll see what happens there. And the Toronto Blue Jays, they hired James Click from Astros GM as their vice president of baseball strategy. He was GM the last couple of years before the Astros, as he took over for Jeff Luhnow, who got fired after the sign stealing allegations came down. He did a pretty good job. I mean, most pieces were already there for James Click, but he overall, did a pretty good job. He wanted a long-term deal. Astros, Jim Crane offered him, the Astros owner, Jim Crane offered him a one-year prove-it deal. He said that's not going to happen, so then they parted ways. But he's now working for the Toronto Blue Jays. He'll probably be a GM again soon, I would think. And by the way, can people stop crying about the Mets and the Pirates spending money? I'm tired of the freaking Rockies owner and some of these other owners complaining that, Steve Cohen is spending too much money. The Padres are spending too much money. Grow up. It's called caring about the game. And most players don't even have a problem with it. Freddie Freeman, who was the star of the Braves, who plays the Mets, he used to play the Mets 25 times a year, now he's in the Dodgers, said that he loves Steve Cohen. I know diehard Yankee fans who love Steve Cohen. Even Stephen A loves Steve Cohen. So stop crying about them spending money, okay? Shut up with that. Get out of here with that.
I don't have an issue necessarily about the Mets spending money or Steve Cohen spending money. Let me tell you something. People ask me, because I'm from New Jersey, they ask me, are you a Mets or a Yankees fan? And I say neither. I don't like both. I don't like the way they act.
They're New York sports fans.
What I'm going to say is this, and this is a message to all Mets fans. They know who they are. Yes, I love the fact that Steve Cohen is spending money. It's that aggressiveness that you need in baseball to pick up players, and you have to have the money. Money talks, and especially in baseball because there's no salary cap.
Yeah.
But Mets fans then, okay, let's say, for example, Carlos Correa was healthy, and they got him. And now let's say you guys get Ohtani, which is likely from what I've been reading.
Very possible.
It's possible. Mets fans have officially lost their right to complain about crying about the Yankees for spending money.
Of course.
They will 100% lose their right. I never had a
problem with that.
Oh, no, I'm not saying you did, but there are a lot of Mets fans.
I was jealous. I wasn't upset.
Yeah, there are a lot of Mets fans who cry, the Yankees are cheating. They spend a lot. They spend money. They pick up all the good players.
Some of them used to, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, some of them used to. But also, you need to look. I also think that there are just some Mets fans who are genuinely jealous that they do not have a forever Met.
Yeah.
Look at all of the players that were not signed as MLB free agents, but were recruited as rookies on the Yankees that are Yankee and MLB legends. Jeter, Rivera, Mantle, DiMaggio, Yogi Berra. Need I say more? Need I go on? You have Aaron Judge, who's making a name for himself on that team. I don't even know. I know he's supposed to go to the Giants, but apparently I forgot the reporter who just completely fumbled the bag on that one. Yeah, John Heyman. Yeah, who completely blew his career on that. But it's like, these Mets fans gotta stop complaining about spending money, and Yankees fans have to stop acting as if they're the best. You haven't won. Every single year it's their year. Yeah. It is always their year. It's 90 wins, and it's always the same shit. It's 90 wins. This is our year, and then Giancarlo Stanton strikes out 9 times, then you lose. Every single year, these guys treat Aaron Boone as if he's the next Jesus. I know, they're just as bad. Unlike the Baltimore Orioles, they don't spend money.
No, I don't.
They don't think they're the best.
They're not.
Yeah, because they're not. And that's why and that's why the Orioles are winning World Series.
I mean,
Dark horse.
They could be a dark horse to make the playoffs. We shall see. But yeah, stop crying about spending money. There's no salary cap. Yes, there's penalties for luxury tax, but Steve Cohen's worth $14 million. He doesn't care. They're like, oh yeah, we're gonna pull a Cohen tax on you. Fine, do it. The dude doesn't care. You take away the Mets, he is still one of the richest people in the world. You take away the Yankees and Hal Steinbrenner, he's not getting any income. He's worth $2 billion, but still, he's not gonna take away the Mets from Cohen. He doesn't care. Like, financially. So, that's my thoughts on that. Moving on to hockey. Scores from last night. Sabres over the Capitals, 7-4. Wild over the Blue Jackets, 3-2. Islanders over the Winnipeg Jets, 4-0. Rangers over the Kings, 5-2. They snapped their 4-game skid.
Suck it, Kings.
Yeah, Justin's not a fan of the Kings. It's a long story there. Penguins over the Lightning, 7-3. Predators over the Coyotes, 6-2. And the Maple Leafs over the Kraken, 5-1. So a standings update in the NHL. Boston's still leading the East with 95 points. Carolina is in second. In third is the Devils with 83. And they made a big trade. We'll get to all the trades that have happened right up next. Toronto in fourth with 82. Tampa is in fifth with 78. Rangers are in sixth with 77. New York Islanders are now actually in seventh with 69. Pittsburgh is in eighth with 67. Buffalo's only a point out. Detroit is only 3 points out. Florida is 3 points out. Washington is struggling. They have fallen 3 points out. Ottawa is hanging on. They're only 7 points out of the spot. And then the Flyers have kind of fallen apart. And then the Canadiens are out of it. And that's how the Columbus Blue Jackets. In the West, Vegas back on top in the West. It's very tight in the West. They're at 76. Dallas and the Kings are both at 74. But Dallas got 2 games in hand. Edmonton's at 72, as is Minnesota. They actually have the same amount of games played. But Minnesota's got 1 more win. But Edmonton has 1 less regulation loss and 2 more OT losses. Colorado and Winnipeg have 71. But Colorado has 3 games in hand. And Seattle has 70. They're the last spot. Calgary is a point out. Nashville is 6 points out, and then the Blues have fallen apart, and they've waved the white flags. They're trading away all their pieces. And Arizona, San Jose, Chicago, Anaheim are cooked. The West is super tight. The first team out in the West is the Calgary Flames, and they are only 10 points out of first place in the conference. If the season ended today, the Calgary Flames would not be in the postseason. And they are only 10 points out of first. That's crazy. Meanwhile, you go to the East, and the first wildcard in the East is the Islanders. They are 26 points behind the Bruins for first place. Bruins are having a crazy year, but still. Also, you got the 1 seed in the West right now is Vegas Golden Knights. If they were in the East, they would be 4th. No, they would be 7th. Wow. The first seed in the West is the Vegas Golden Knights. If they were in the East, they would be 7th. The New York Rangers are 6th in the East. My Rangers are a point ahead of Vegas. That's crazy. I just had a huge epiphany back here. That's crazy. That is crazy. Now let's get to some trades, and by some I mean a lot. I haven't, done this in a few days, so I missed a bunch. You had some big ones. Bruins made a big deal of Washington. The Wild are also involved. Bruins at Garnet Hathaway and Dmitry Orlov. They send Craig Smith and a couple of picks. They send a 2023 first and a 2024 third to Washington. They send a 2025 third a 2025 second to Minnesota, who gives them a prospect. Nice move for Boston. They get a solid defenseman in Orlov, and they get someone to put on the 4th line in Hathaway. Timo Meier goes to the Devils. That's a big move. The Devils, whose offensive attack was already elite, gets a guy who already has 31 goals. He goes to the New Jersey Devils. And in return, the other way goes Andres Johnson, a young guy who had 20 goals a couple years ago with the Maple Leaf, but hasn't really able to rediscover that. I think like 2 years ago, he had like 13 goals. The last year, really hasn't done anything. He's only played 2 games. He's been the minors most of the year. They got 3 prospects and then a first rounder in 2023 and a conditional first rounder in 24. Could be a second, could be a first. That's a big move for the Devils. I think San Jose covers half his salary. We'll see if they give him an extension. No talks yet. He'll hit the market after the year as of right now. That's a big move for the Devils. We're already third in the East and already have an absolutely outstanding offensive attack. So big move for the New Jersey Devils. And they didn't really give up that much. I mean, Andreas Johnson, maybe the junior series helps him regain that 20-goal form, but I don't know. And the 3 prospects aren't like blue chip guys, and then the 2 firsts. I don't know. We had Nashville makes a couple of trades. They send Tanner Janot to Tampa, and in return they get a veteran defenseman named Cal Foote, and they get back 5 draft picks to get back a 3rd, 4th, and 5th this year, and then they get back I think a 2nd in 2024 and a 1st in 2025. Nashville also signs Niederreiter, who's got 18 goals this year, to Winnipeg Jets. They get a 2024 second rounder back in that deal. Got some smaller ones. Jack Johnson goes to the Avalanche. Blackhawks and Andres Englund back to Chicago. That's a depth defenseman trade there. Knights make a nice move. Golden Knights pick up Ivan Barbashev from St. Louis. Zach Dean is the prospect that goes the other way. He was a first rounder in 2021. He's a talented prospect, still just 20 years old, so they get a nice prospect back. St. Louis. Barbashev is a nice player, still very young. Believe he'll be a free agent after the season. Stars send Denis Uranov to Montreal. They get again Dadonov. Dadonov only has 4 goals here, and Uranov hasn't done much either. Just 20-goal season a few years ago. That's a small trade. Canucks get Vitaly Kravtsov from the Rangers. Rangers get back William Locke, who's a depth defenseman and a 2026 7th rounder. Kravtsov was a very highly touted prospect at one point for the Rangers. Was a top 10 pick. Hasn't really worked out, but is still young. Because the Rangers are trying to get Patrick Kane from the Blackhawks. The problem is they don't have the cap space to do it. So they're trying to like manipulate the roster so that they send Kravtsov, who is not in their future plans anyway. I think he's a bust. I don't really like what I've seen from him. They send him to Vancouver. They placed some other guy who they claimed him earlier in the year. I forgot his name, Jake something. His last name is a mouthful. They placed him on waivers. Remember, they had made him and Kravtsov inactive for roster management purposes. They accept Braden Schneider, who's had a nice year. One of the young defensemen. He didn't play him last game. He was a healthy scratch. They send him down to the minors. They didn't want him to get hurt. So, like, they're trying to maneuver their roster to just, like, open up space. Like, just enough space for Kane, whose cap hit this year is $10.5 million. I believe Chicago is willing to pay half his salary, and it's going to be prorated at the point when they make the trade. So I think it'll be like 2.6 or 2.7 million or something. So they're trying to create space. Remember, they already made the Tarasenko trade. Tarasenko's on a pretty big contract, and the only NHL player they sent back was Semi Blais, who does not make a lot of money, and then they sent back the 1 prospect and then some draft picks. And they also got Nikola Mikola in the trade. I think so that's why Schneider went back down to the AHL, because Mikola was on their 3rd pair. So Schneider they could probably interchange with the big guy they have over there. I can't remember his name. So we will see what happens there. But Kravtsov is now a Vancouver Canuck. And we had a trade that broke not too long ago. Jake McCabe and Sam Lafferty they get traded by Chicago, I believe, to Colorado, and then Joey Anderson, a prospect, Pavel Gogolev, I believe is his name, a conditional, and a 2025 conditional first, and a 2026 second go the other way. Those are your NHL trades. Deadline is March 3rd, which is this Friday. So keep an eye out for that. Let's talk some college basketball. Not from yesterday, but we had some shocking stuff. We had Arizona State hit a 3-quarter shot to shock number 7 Arizona. Yeah, Michigan State with a 10-point lead.
Yeah, we were actually. If you don't remember, we went out for lunch with my parents, and that game was on. And we weren't turning to the TV.
Arizona?
Arizona State. Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty funny.
I'm kind of pissed.
Well, that was a very good lunch, though. That was a very good lunch. Justin went to lunch with his parents the other day, and the game was on. And Michigan State choked a 10-point lead in the final minute against Iowa.
Blood.
What did you say? What was that, Justin?
Blue blood.
Yeah, that's we know a guy who thinks Michigan is a blue blood. That's another story. But number 4, UCLA beats Colorado yesterday, 60 to 56. I believe they've already clinched the Pac-12, but I saw that they've only played one ranked team this year and they lost. So I don't know if that makes them a fraud. We'll see what happens. Number 20, Providence beats Georgia 88 to 68. Good lord, Georgetown is bad. I love Patrick Ewing's Knicks fan, greatest Knick of all time, Hall of Famer. But he is a horrible coach. He needs to get fired. He's got to go. And unranked Maryland from minor upset over number 21 Northwestern 75 to 59. The college basketball rankings are out. March is right around the corner. The tournament will be happening pretty soon. Houston is still number 1. Kansas up to number 2. Alabama is 3rd. UCLA is 4th. Marquette is up to 5th. Wow, I can't believe Marquette's a top 5 team in the country. That's crazy. Indiana is 6th. Kansas State 7th. Baylor 8th. Texas 9th. Purdue drops to 10th. Arizona is 11th. Miami 12th. Maryland 13th. Gonzaga 14th. St. Mary's 15th. UConn is 16th. Kentucky into the rankings at 17th. Duke 18th. Providence 19th. San Diego State 20th. Texas A&M 21st. Pitt 22nd. Tennessee continues to tumble. They're all down to 23rd. TCU 24th and Xavier 25th. Selection Sunday, less than 2 weeks away. That is crazy. On to the NBA. Let's talk about some scores from yesterday. Bucks over the Suns, 104-101. Drew Holiday with 33 points. Hawks over the Nets, 129 to 127. Trailing at 34 points and 8 assists. Why big news, of course, Nate McMillan got fired. He is gone. I talked about that with Justin on Friday. Quinn Snyder is officially their head coach. More Jazz coach goes to Atlanta. I think it's a nice hire. He's a solid coach.
Very good pickup.
He had some turmoil in Utah with Spider and Gobert always clashing.
Yeah, he gives them exactly what they needed. They need some good leadership. Maybe he can go far with this team. Maybe this is it. He doesn't have the whole, Gobert and Mitchell clash to hold him back. And also, they have some pretty good depth pieces on that team as well. He was a coach of the year for a reason. Yeah. I think this is his time.
Definitely. They need a steady hand. They need they need an Everett Spoelstra, like a Hall of Fame caliber coach. They need a steady hand, and that's what they're getting in Quinn Snyder, a coach that the players actually like and isn't thinking about retiring mid-season because of how miserable he is, like Nate McMillan. So that's something. Bulls over the Wizards, 102 to 82. DeMar DeRozan 29 points. Lakers over the Mavs 111 to 108. Mavericks blow a 27-point lead, largest blown lead of the year.
Yep.
AD 30 points, 15 rebounds, 3 blocks in that one. Cavs over the Raptors 118 to 93. Donovan Mitchell 35 points in that one. Kings over the Thunder 124 to 115. De'Aaron Fox had 30 points and 8 assists. But De'Aaron Fox, really underrated. He's having a really nice year for the Kings. Warriors over the Timberwolves 109 to 104. Clay had 32 points. He's been really hot for Klay Thompson lately. Blazers over the Rockets 131 to 114. Dame had 71. By the way, the Rockets, they may be the worst defensive basketball team I have ever seen.
It's not bad defense. It's tanking.
I think they're tanking.
I am going to at the end of this, I'm going to show you every set of points that Damian Lillard scored. And you're going to see the spacing is like a freaking galaxy, man. It is just they gave him like at least 4 to 5 feet of space for every shot. It's ridiculous. I could not believe I was watching. This team is not bad defense. This team's tanking.
Yeah, I saw a stat like they've given up 70. They got 71. Today they got 50 to Luka. They get LeBron 48. Jokic, Lauri Markkanen had 49 against them. Clay had 42 and 41 against them. Shai had 42. I mean, a lot of these guys are really good, but like, Luka having 50, okay. But like, even LeBron's still a great player, but at this point in his career, he's dropping 48 on you, really? Laurie Marketing, all-star rating about 49 on you, really? Clay, future Hall of Famer, but at this point in his career, 240 games, 240 burgers on you, really? One game he had 12 threes? Come on. I mean, the shot dropping 42 wasn't that bad, but the other ones, they can't play defense. Nuggets over the Clippers, 134 to 124 in overtime. Jokic, 40 points, 17 boards, 10 assists, make him the MVP. Please.
Give it to him.
3 years in a row. It's got to happen. Now the NBA standings. Boston's still in first, but only a half game ahead in Milwaukee, who's now won 14 games in a row. They are scorching hot.
Second round exit.
Justin thinks they're a second round exit. We shall see what happens.
I don't think. I know.
If Justin in the past, if you follow me on Twitter, he's pretty good with calling this stuff. We'll see.
Yeah, the thing is this. I'm a little concerned because the team with the best win streak in the game of the year is a second round exit for some reason.
Last 2 years, that's right.
Last 2 years. It's just been like that. I don't know why, but it just do be like that sometimes and every time.
If Milwaukee isn't healthy, maybe, but my thing is if they have at least 2 of those 3, I think they can beat like the Sixers in the second round. But we shall see. Got Philly in third. In fourth is Cleveland. Fifth is Brooklyn. Sixth is the Knicks. Miami, Justin Taylor 2 and 4. They are strong. They've actually fallen 2.5 games behind the Knicks for
good. Okay. I want it.
Justin just wants the Heat downfall. He's so done with them. But Knicks and Heat have been neck and neck all year. Knicks are actually 2.5 games ahead of them for the 6th spot right now. And Knicks are actually same amount of games back of first as the Nets, but the Nets have played 2 less games. So I hope if the Knicks can get that 5 spot and get Cleveland in the first round, I think that's a more favorite matchup than the Sixers from the Knicks, to be honest.
That would be a great match. That would be a great series, though.
Yeah. The second spot in the play-in is Atlanta, who just made their coaching change. Toronto is the 9th spot. And then the last spot right now is Washington. The Bulls are a half game out of the play-in. Indiana is 2 games out of the play-ins. Orlando is 3.5 games out. And Charlotte and Detroit run up the Eastern Conference. In the West, Denver's still in first, 5.5 games clear of Memphis, who's in second. Then got Sacramento in third, Phoenix in fourth. May get KD on Wednesday, we'll see. Clippers are in fifth, half game behind Phoenix. A half game behind them is Dallas, who's in sixth. Luka and Curry are 1 and 3 together. Not working out so far. Yeah, Golden State is a half game behind Dallas. They're the first playing team. Utah's the second playing team. Minnesota is the third playing team. And last playing team is New Orleans, still without Zion. Portland's a half game out of the play-ins. Lakers are a game out of the play-in. They've actually been playing well since the deadline. Thunder are a game and a half out of the play-ins. And you have the Spurs, who have lost 16 straight games. 16 straight games they have lost. Wow. And the Rockets have also lost 9 straight. West is really tight. The 3 through 10th are only 5.5 games apart of each other, and the 4 through 10s are within 2.5 games of each other. Very tight in the West. Very tight in the Western Conference. And some other news, Will Barton is officially a free agent. We'll see if anyone gets him. Jacques Vaughn got an extension last week through 2027. Good for Jacques Vaughn, the Brooklyn Nets coach. Bucks signed Myers Leonard to a 10-day deal. I don't understand why he would sign someone who said what he said, and with that kind of baggage, especially when he's not going to really play more than 10 minutes a game, but whatever. They're lost. RJ Hampton was former college star. A lot of it was way better Magic, and Detroit picked him up. By the way, did you guys see the King Clippers game? What was it, like 178 to 175? It was
178, 176.
178, 176 in double overtime. Malik Monk had 45 off the bench.
It was a good game.
De'Aaron Fox like 44, Kawhi like 44, 45. I think Paul George had 34 in that game.
Kawhi played 46 minutes.
I know,
which means he's going to be out for like 8 games.
That's probably. By the way, Charles Barkley was on First Take earlier today, talking about load management. I completely agree with him. Load management is so stupid. Y'all are making $50 million a year, and you can't play basketball 3 times a week. That is so stupid. NBA needs to look at that soon. Like Charlie Barkley said, these guys are making $80 million a year in a few years, and they're going to have to sit out. And he's right. He was so spot on, Charlie Barkley, on first take. I really agree with what he said. Get out of here with load management. All of you, LeBron, Kawhi, all of you, stop it. All of them need to stop the cap with that. On to the NFL. Joe Lombardi is the Broncos offensive coordinator. I didn't think he did a good job for the Chargers. He was let go for a reason. It was more on Staley, but Lombardi was not a good offensive coordinator. I don't know why it's their OC. I don't like the either coordinator they brought in. Vance Joseph, I don't think is that good of a defensive coordinator. I mean, he's not as bad as Will's head coach. He's a horrible head coach with Denver. I don't know why they brought him back. It's basically like going back to your ex. It's what it basically is like. He was pretty good DC in Miami, but he was not good in Arizona. I don't know why it's going to change in Denver. I don't know. We'll see.
So what you're saying is that the Broncos are not going to win a Lombardi with Lombardi?
First of all, I see what you did there. Very, very clever. Second of all, I am saying I do not believe that will be happening, unfortunately. That will be said.
I just wanted to put in the joke.
That would be pretty funny, though. Chiefs promote Matt Nagy, the offensive coordinator. Wasn't a good head coach, but with Pat Mahomes, if you can't... He does have a ring. Justin's given the ring on his finger. He does have a ring as a quarterback's coach. I mean, if you can't run a good offense with Pat Mahomes and Travis Kelce, you should not coach above like junior high school. So I'm sure he'll be fine. He's got a pretty good quarterback over there. But yeah, like I said, Vance Joseph is the DC in Denver. Browns hire Bubba Ventrone as the special teams corner. He was the Colts special teams corner. Actually, was interviewed for the Colts head coach job before they brought in Shane Steichen. So he's now the Browns special teams coordinator. They made a lot of coaching changes. Broncos hired Davis Webb as the quarterback coach from a 5th-round pick. Never started a game in his career. Still 28 years old, and now is basically coaching Russell Wilson, who's older than him. That's crazy. Eagles still looking for a new defensive coordinator. Sean Desai, the Seahawks defensive assistant, who was former Bears defensive coordinator so many times. He did a good job in that role. Got his second interview for the Eagles defensive coordinator job. We'll see where that goes. Jaguars extend Roy Robertson Harris, who had a nice year. Their interior D lineman, 3 years, $30 million. I'm hearing Jalen Ramsey might get traded because Rams are in a big cap crunch. Actually, they cut Bobby Wagner, which saves him $5 million. He got 5 years for $50 million just last year. Rams are definitely in a cap crunch. The way over the cap, so they might trade Jalen Ramsey. We'll see what happens. Dolphins are expected to cut up Byron Jones, the veteran corner. By the way, he had the whole weird Twitter post. He's not retiring. I don't know what. He was probably just venting. They'll save him 13.6 if he gets cut. Carson Wentz was just cut from the Commanders. 26. That saves the Commanders $26 million against the cap. So that's a big salary cap move for the Commanders. I don't think he gets a starting job in the NFL. I don't see after his last couple of years. Titans got Taylor Lewan's expected, the veteran left tackle who isn't the same player anymore. His $14.8 million against the cat. He was joking on countless podcasts throughout the season. He was getting cut. I think they were trying to figure out some sort of contract restructure. They couldn't agree to it. Lions cut Michael Brockers. He's a D tackle, saves him $10 million. So roster cuts continue as they come out. I'll get those to you. Before I close up the show, Jake Paul, you couldn't beat Tommy Fury. Dude's a wannabe social media.
Not even allowed in the country.
He's
0-1 in Saudi Arabia.
A wannabe social media dude who can't even legally enter the United States. Couldn't even be that. Dude's a fraud. I'm glad the dude got humbled. And by the way, he blamed the Drake curse. I told you he would have an excuse. All right.
Wait.
What's up?
We're not done yet.
We're not?
Nope. We're not done. I got 3 things to ask you about.
Okay.
I'm going to go to more local sports, more shoe sports real quick.
All right. Sacred Heart Sports.
Yeah. Number 1, hockey.
Mm-hmm.
5-0 loss. Stance on that.
They look horrible. I work some athletic events here. I actually sometimes I'm like the security guard for Big Red, which is Sacred Heart University's mascot. It was brutal. I know Justin was at the game. I stopped by and said hi to him when I was following the mascot around from my side job I have here at Sacred Heart. That was brutal. That was pretty bad.
Yeah, it was bad. I was embarrassed.
Yeah, and they lost them like 5-2 like last time, and I was working that game too as Big Red's security guard. So I don't know what maybe it's me.
Yeah,
I
guess you're 0-2 when they're playing American International while you're the security guard for Big Red.
But also that right there.
Yeah, but also all right, let's go to more even localer.
Okay.
Health and safety for housing is coming up. What do you think? What are you taking the over under for us on that? I think we're passing.
Oh God, can I say what I want to say right now?
No, just us, two of us. Do you think we're passing? Just the two of us?
The two of us?
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah, you hope so. All right.
But I don't know, that came out of the blue. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to the true sporting event.
Life of a college student, guys. I'm talking sports with Jake. What's up, Justin?
All right. The final sport that we need to talk about is, spring break's coming up. We're coming home. I am bringing back the Shave Bowl. I'm bringing it back.
All right. So for those of you who don't know, as you can see, I don't grow up my beard. I shave twice a week. You never see me with more than like a little bit of scruff. Because like once I hit like a week, I'm itching my neck like crazy. Justin, however, let's grow his out. So what we do whenever he decides to shave, about let's say once a month roughly.
Usually when I go home.
Never the break. We play NBA 2K on PlayStation. If I win, he has to shave that day. If not, he has to wait. Then he has to wait to shave. So apparently there's a shave bowl coming up this week.
Yeah. So let me ask you. So here's what's gonna be.
Okay.
If it's gonna be on Wednesday.
Okay.
If you win, I shave on Wednesday.
Okay.
If you lose, I shave Thursday night, which is then next day's Friday for the final show.
For our class, yeah. And by the way, guys, after Wednesday, I will not be doing this podcast till I believe that date comes to March 13th, so about 2 weeks off for spring break. So just so you guys know. And by the way, on Wednesday will be my NFL Free Agency preview. So take a look. Keep your eyes out for that. Thank you all.
Yeah, wait, I'm not done yet.
What's up, Justin? You still got more for me?
Yeah, because I need to finish talking about the Shave Bowl.
What?
Your birthday is coming up.
March 15th.
March 15th.
Second day we get back.
So
Tuesday.
So obviously you won't be having the Shave Bowl then because I'll be all baby faced, all shaved up. So Jake, what do I need to do to shave on Thursday night? What's the challenge? What's the challenge I need to fulfill on 2K? I'm letting you decide this time.
All right. I'm doing this live on the air. You know what?
Yeah, I'm putting you right on the spot, on the fly. Think about it this way: if you're on radio, you got to get callers in. They're gonna ask you on the fly questions.
Practice. It is good practice. I'll say, I don't know.
You got an idea yet?
If you make 3 3-point shots with who's a really bad? If you make 3 3-point shots with Andre Drummond.
Oh, easy.
Are you sure?
I'll do 6.
Do you want to do 6?
I can do 6 with Andre Drummond.
Are you sure?
I done 5. I got a 40-point game with Robin Lopez shooting nothing but threes.
That's true. That is a true statement, guys. All right, you know what? 6 threes of Andre Drummond.
Deal.
Damn, there it is. You will find out via Twitter whether or not him or I won. That's all I got for you guys today. Until next time, so long. Have a great day.